So Hans in Luck is a lesser well-known story in the English-speaking world. It was written by the Brothers Grimm and it's dated back to 1812, so that makes it 205 years old. Therefore, the imagery is and the values that is given to animals, etc., is slightly different. So it goes like this. Hans was a labourer on a farm, and he worked there. Everybody liked him. He always had a smile. He seemed always happy. And that after 7 years, he wanted to move back to his mother, and then the farmer said to him, Hans, you've been wonderful. You really have been so wonderful to me. You made everybody smile. You never did anything wrong. So, for your valuable service, I will give you a lump of gold. And Hans said, well, thank you very much, but that's almost as big as my head. Well, I can't thank you enough. I will take it home and my mum will be very pleased. So he wraps it in his cloth, puts it on a stick and starts walking early in the morning. So a few hours in, he walks down a dusty road, and he sees a rider coming along. So the rider looks at him and says, oh, that looks very heavy. And Hans says, yes, it is. It is. Ah, I wish I could have a horse, because then I wouldn't knock my shoes on stones, and it won't be so dusty on the road. The rider said to him, well, I can see that it's really miserable for you. Well, but what is in that cloth? Well, the farmer's given it to me. It's a lump of gold. Oh, I can see gold is very heavy. I'm feeling very generous today, so if you want, I will give you the horse, because look, you can really ride easily and you'll be at home in no time. So Hans said to himself, thank you so much, that is very, very kind, because this gold is going to be a burden. And the rider said yes, and it's going to get hotter as the day goes on. So he goes on the horse, and the rider says, well, hold on, I have to get off the horse first. So Hans was that eager. Hold the reins tight, the rider said, and you need to do hop, hop to the horse, and then it will start galloping away. So Hans gets on the horse and he goes whoop, whoop. Not like this, you have to go hop, hop. So Hans does this, and the horse goes, bolts off. And he bolts off for half a mile. And of course the rider goes the other way, smiling and laughing to himself. So eventually the horse gets stopped by a farmer who's just walking along the path with his old cow. Oh, I almost fell off, Hans said. I almost fell off. This is really dangerous. I'm going to hurt myself, aren't I? And the farmer said, yes, well, you have to be careful with those horses. I'm much better off with my cow, because the cow doesn't bolt like this. Oh, I wish I could have a cow like that. Then, when I'm thirsty, I could milk it, and yes, that would be lovely. The farmer said, well, I am feeling quite generous today, and I can see the trouble this horse is giving you, this stallion. So I'm happy, reluctantly, but I'm happy, because I'm feeling very generous today. So the exchange happens, and the farmer rides off on the horse, and Hans has now got a cow. So he's taking it on on the rope and he's walking down the dusty road. So after a few miles he comes to a big field and he gets thirsty. So he ties the cow onto a post, he takes off his leather hat, puts it under the other, but suddenly he thinks, oh, is this an ox? I can't see the other. Has he given me an ox? Oh no, there it is. So he starts milking, but nothing comes. He starts milking, he's milking much harder now, and the cow goes moo, moo, goes the cow, and starting to wriggle around, and even harder he milks. He's sitting now at the back between its legs, but then the cow had enough and it starts kicking out, and it kicks Hans right onto his body, and he falls onto the floor behind the cow and he falls asleep. The cow has just knocked him out. A few moments later, there's a butcher that comes along. He's got a little wagon that he's pulling, and on that little wagon he's got a little pig. He sees Hans and he says, oh, what happened to you, poor thing? He said, well, that cow kicked me. What, that old cow? How can that even kick you anymore? Well, I tried to milk it. Well, I won't give any more milk, this cow. And then Hans looked onto the wagon. Oh, I wish I could have a pig like that. Ooh, the meat would be nice and juicy, not old and leathery like this cow. It doesn't even give milk. The butcher says, well, I'm feeling generous today. I'm willing to trade this old cow with my small juicy pig. So the exchange happens and Hans thinks, yes, I have my mum will be so pleased I've got this little pig, that's great. So off he waddles, and then a few hundred yards later, just round the curve, he sees a man carrying a goose. Oh, that's a nice pig you have, young man. Oh, you've got a really nice goose. Oh, that can lay eggs, and I can pluck the feathers and make a cushion and sleep really nice on those duck feathers. And then the man thinks to himself, did you know, Hans, this pig of yours here, that was stolen. Where did you get it from? Well, I exchanged it for a cow. Yeah, but you know it was stolen, and the village ahead I've seen dozens of farmers with sharp sticks trying to find it, and whoever is in possession of that pig, they will put down in a dark cellar for many months. But I'm feeling very generous today, and I'm happy to let go of my goose. Look how heavy it is. Oh yes, it's heavy. Yes, please, I don't want to go into a dark dungeon. No, you have my pig, I'll take the goose. So he goes along, he goes into the village, and he's got a few pennies, the last few pennies, and he drinks a beer because he's quite thirsty by now. He has his beer, and then he carries on, and the last few houses on the road, he sees a man there with a round stone and he's sharpening knives and scissors. So he stops and watches him for a while, and that man seems very happy, singing happy songs. Well, why are you so happy? Hans asked. And the man who's sharpening his scissors and other people's knives and scissors Says, well, you see, my life is just wonderful because look here, huh? Every time I get up, there's a little clinker in my pocket, and that means I've always got coins in my pocket, so I can always go and buy things. So my life is actually quite good. But tell me, Hans, where did you get that nice goose from? So Hans said, I just had a whole day worth of just luck struck me all day long. Every time I got into trouble, somebody came and helped me out. Yeah, but how? So where did you get that goose? Well, I exchanged it for a pig. Because the pig apparently was stolen, so I didn't want to have a stolen pig. Well, how come you had a stolen pig then? Well, the butcher gave it to me in exchange for an old cow. Oh, this is getting very curious. So where did you get the old cow from? Well, the old cow I got from a farmer because I had a horse that was bolting and it was too much for me. Yeah, but then how did you end up with a horse? Where did you get that from? I can tell you. The beginning in the morning of my journey, I was carrying a huge lump of gold and it was too heavy. So this rider kindly gave me his horse for the lump of gold. I see. Now, but how did you come to have a lump of gold in the first place? Well, I worked for this farmer for 7 years and he was so grateful that he gave me this lump of gold. I see where you're coming from. Now, Hans, that is your name, isn't it? You're from the neighbouring village. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, Hans, listen. I have an idea. Would you like to, every time you get up, have a little clinker in your pocket? That means it's full up with coins. Oh, that would be wonderful. No, but how can I do that? Well, look over here. I've got a stone. It's a bit shabby, but it'll still work very, very well. So if you give me your goose, then I'll happily give you this stone where you can sharpening stone, where you can sharpen your people's knives and scissors and get coins for it, get paid for it. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, kind man. So he took, and he walked a few hundred yards. He was full of sweat. He said, this is even heavier than my lump of gold. So he came onto a bridge and he rested the heavy sharpening stone on the banisters of the bridge. And he looked down into the water. He said, I would love to. And he tried to grab. At the same time, he let go of his stone. And the stone tumbled into the water. I'm so lucky. Because I've still got 1 mile to go. I could never have carried that stone home. I'm so pleased. My mum will be so pleased when I tell her. So he starts singing songs for the last mile and he walks home with nothing to carry. I just can't wait for my mum to hear my story, how lucky I've been all day. So Hans arrives at home and he tells his mum the whole story from the beginning with the lump of the gold, the horse, the cow, the pig, the goose, and then the sharpening stone that was too heavy to carry. Of course, Mum, that's too heavy. And you could see Mum took a huge sigh, not a sigh of relief, but a sigh of anguish. My goodness, my goodness. But she said, thank heaven you're still alive, Hans, and I'm so happy that you're home. So this is the end of the story, and thank you for listening. And of course you can put your iPad in front of your children and just press the on button, or you could learn the story by heart, listen to it a few times when you do your cooking or whatever. It's a good, nice story. I would say maybe from the age of 6, 7 onwards. Yes, so enjoy and thanks for listening again. Goodbye.